What's up, you guys? Let's take a look at how to tie your belt for class. All right, we're gonna jump right into it. I'm gonna show you in detail how we tie our belts, and then I'm gonna do it again so that you can follow along. So one, I'm gonna talk all the way through. You can follow along as I do it, and then I'll just do it again a little bit quicker so you can see sort of each step smoothly, one after the other. So in the beginning, you're gonna have to wrap the belt around your waist. There's a couple ways that you can do this, but we're gonna keep it simple. You're gonna take one side, grab the short end with your right hand and the long end with your left. You could be the other way around, but to follow along, my right hand is over here, my left hand is gonna grab this way. And I'm just gonna take the end of the belt and put it across my hip so that this tail is just a little bit onto the side here. I need to wrap the long end all the way around. So my left hand is gonna come behind my back all the way around, and I'm gonna take my right hand and try to grab onto it so that I can let go. I bring that left hand all the way around and stop the belt from falling. Now my right hand can take the belt, and I wanna lay it on top of that first wrap so that that tail is low, under. I don't want it to come underneath and have the tail sticking out. I just wanna leave this flat. The side that's coming around for that second wrap goes on top, leaving this under. Now again, you're gonna feed this all the way around, and I just kind of keep my hand cupping the first wrap so that I know I'm not getting this twisted up. You should be able to feel everything should be nice and flat all the way through. On that second wrap, again, as you come around, that first tail stays under, and you bring the other one on top, and you cross it all the way past your center line. Now here, you can move the belt a little bit. It should be around your hips. You don't want it too far up above your hips. You want it to be nice and tight along that hip line. You want to bring this so that you have, again, one strand on top, one strand underneath, and you should be able to even them out, right? So if I have one side that's really short and one that's really long, this is where I'm going to move my belt a little bit, and I'm going to tighten my belt up to about as tight as I'd like it, and I want the strands to be more or less even at this point. Remember, you can always take your time when you're trying to get comfortable with finding the right length. Don't have to rush it. It'll get more and more comfortable. So now I have one strand on top that's coming around on my right side. The other strand is underneath that comes from under on the bottom on the left. Take that right side that's coming all the way over, and you should have two wraps. You're gonna tuck the top strand under both wraps, underneath and up. So it should be securing both wraps, and you should have one strand down and one strand up. This is again where you can tighten your belt up a little bit, you can move it a little bit, and I just check that the strands, if I pull them a little bit, are about the same length. If I have one that's really short, I'm gonna pull it out a little bit more and check that I feel like it doesn't have to be perfect, but more or less my strand are about the same length. Again, you should have one that's down, it should kind of come off to the right a little bit, one that comes up the top of the belt that goes off to the left a little bit. Take the one that's on the right, bring it into your palm, but take the one that's on the left and turn it over. So when I rotate it, I turn it towards the one on the right, this way. Take this, turn it over. Now, keep that one there. The one on the bottom, cross under, and you're gonna come up and around and in to that hole, into that loop that you've made. Take your time, grab both strands, and you should be able to pull and almost pull both strands down. If you've done this right, you should have this nice flat knot that's even, and both strands come and sit comfortably down off of your hips. You can tighten it up to where you feel comfortable. If you don't get that bottom one staying under and crossing underneath, what happens at this point, if the one that's under comes up over the top and you try to tie it here, you're gonna end up with one strand sticking straight up and one strand sticking straight down. You want this to look good, you want it to feel comfortable when you're training, and you wanna take a little bit of pride in tying your belt and tying your rank. So again, once you've gotten to this point, the one that comes up, the tricky part is turn it over. The one that's on the bottom stays under and then wraps up and around. You can take your time. You don't want to pull one up and one down, so take your time, grab, and pull both strands across and down. this way. This will give you a nice flat knot. The same thing, the reason that I'm turning that one side over, if I undo this, if I don't turn this over, because the belt is a little bit wider, if I leave it this way and don't turn it over, when I come up and around, it's twisted here on the side. It comes up and then rotates. And that's gonna leave sort of like this big knot, and it's gonna come undone easily. So the way to avoid it is to rotate it in, so the one that's on the bottom stays flat, comes up and around. When you go to pull it, it makes one nice loop all the way up and around. And then take your time, make sure it feels good, make sure it's nice and secure and in the middle. So let's go over all of that one more time smoothly so you can follow along. I'm gonna take my belt off. Step one, find the end of your belt. We're just gonna keep it simple. Bring it across your hips. The right side is short, but I let it come out a little past my hip. And I have to feed the belt all the way around so that it comes here and on top. One more time, all the way around, keeping that on top until it's crossed that center. And then I even it out so that my strands are about the same length. Take the strand that's on top, tuck it under both wraps and all the way up, so under and up. Again, I make sure that they're even. I've got one that's a little bit longer, so I'm gonna pull the shorter one over a little, adjust the belt, check it again, looks pretty good. The left side is coming up, the right side is coming down. I take that left strand on top, rotate it in, take the one on the bottom, cross under, up and around, grab each strand and pull. And make sure that knot is nice and flat and everything feels good. Let's do it one more time all the way through. Take the belt off. Find the end, waist, wrap all the way around one, keeping this on top, two. Adjust the length, the one on top, underneath, both strands. Feels good. Turn, under, up and around. Cool. All right, you guys, there you go. Now, it's important to remember there's a lot of different ways that you can tie your belt. There's a lot of different sort of instructions in terms of how you can start in the middle, on the side, left side, right side. This is just one way of doing it. This is just sort of the easiest way for me to give you guys how we tie our belts. And it's also important to remember that not every system uses belts. Our style of Sanda uses a ranking system with belts, but not every style of Sanda does. Not every style of kickboxing does. A lot of styles of Muay Thai and kickboxing don't use any kind of ranking system like that. But for us, we have our own curriculum that has its own ranks. So we do wear belts. You gotta remember to always bring your belt to class, to always have your belt on. And it's important to know how to tie it, to be able to tie it quickly and efficiently. And again, to show a little bit of pride in your rank and a little bit of pride in your school and for your coaches, to make sure you have a nice clean knot and a nice tied belt. So play with this, practice makes perfect. Take the belt off, put it back on, take it off and on, over and over and over again until it becomes really second nature. And again, you can always follow along with this video. If you have any questions, let us know. Have a good one.